Hello, good morning. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you to many, many people watching online. It's my honor and privilege to announce to you Fin2. So today, there's a lot of hype about AI in the world, and some of it is real, some of it is, to be honest, a bit of bullshit. You know, it's hard to see the signal from the noise. There are many products who claim to do things that they can't, or companies who have big numbers, and these numbers are cherry-picked numbers, like 80% resolution rate. That might be like a one-off customer, or like after 4 or 5 months of like deep integration and partnership. And so what we want to do today with you is just get real. We want to show you our real numbers. All the numbers we're showing you today are not cherry-picked. The numbers we're going to show you are numbers across our entire customer base. We're going to send you the numbers, share the numbers of every single customer. So you can have confidence that Fin really works. And these numbers are quite remarkable to us. They, I think, are going to change our industry. We're at a point where we're seeing really, really profound change. And many of you are here today, customers who are the pioneers. You're like leading this. And if you're in the audience and you're not quite sure yet, or you're here to learn how it works, or here to learn if it works, I'd really encourage you to find the customers of ours who have Fin Live and are seeing these transformational results. It really is, I think, a pivotal moment in the customer service industry. I think it's a pivotal moment where we will look back and say, this is where things started to change, and really change for the better. So they're big words, but it's really clear in our data. Fin2 is the best AI agent on the market. Fin2 has a 51% average resolution rate. 51%. That's the average across our entire customer base. And this isn't a number that people spend weeks and months trying to get. It's a number from the very, very start. It's a really, really transformational number. Over half of customer questions that Fin gets asked, it can answer them accurately and resolve the query. That's just going to change how the industry works. We've also worked really hard to make sure that Fin is accurate and has a very, very, very low hallucination rate. Lots of our customers, if 51 is the average, of course, are getting much higher. We've peak numbers around 86%, many customers in the 80s. Again, if Fin is answering 80% of customer questions, it's going to free your team up to do all sorts of other things. So there's some of the numbers. Resolution rate isn't everything, of course. We also have been working on this big, powerful feature set. So Fin2 can do all your frontline support. We have customers here today where Fin2 is doing all of their frontline support, and that means their team is free. And our team is free to do all sorts of new types of things that they couldn't do before. Customer success, do channels like phone that they couldn't resource. It's really, really freeing the team. And the reason is because it's a new generation of AI agent, literally a new generation. So to help you think through that, we're going to go back in time a little bit. We've been doing this type of thing for a long time, many, many years. We launched custom bots in 2018. It was our very first ever bot product for customer service. Here it is here. It was like the very, very first generation. Custom bots was deterministic, which means it was rules-based. It had decision trees, canned answers. And so it worked well if you set it up, and set it up deeply and well. But that takes a lot of work, a lot of resources, and a lot of people, you know, many, many customer service teams are under pressure. You just don't have the resources to do that. So it worked well if you set it up well, but you know, not all of us could do that. And we ended up with bad bots. And so, you know, shit bots, not chat bots. And bots kind of got a bad reputation. And honestly, if you're going to blame anyone for giving bots a bad reputation, you should probably blame us, because we invented the thing that started off the bad bots. But we were working on something better. We've had a machine learning team for nearly a decade. And in 2020, we launched Resolution Bot. Resolution Bot was a new type of product. It worked in a different way to custom bots. If you ask Resolution Bot a question, machine learning works out the best answer. For some customers, they invested a lot in it, and it worked excellently. But it was still a lot of manual setup. You needed a bank of answers. If you put the work in to build a bank of answers, Resolution Bot, using machine learning, could pull out a really great answer. But it was still manual. And through up to 2022, we were working on Resolution Bot, trying to make it better, trying to figure out ways we could make that kind of curation setup step way easier. And honestly, suddenly, everything changed overnight. ChatGPT launched and showed what was possible. With our machine learning background at Intercom, it was over the course of a weekend. We knew this was one of those very rare before-after moments in technology. One of these one-way doors where once you go through the door, you just don't go back. You know, technology only moves in one direction, and we knew this was going to change everything. It was the dawn of the age of large language models, and large language models, for customer service, solved this curation problem. They solved the curation problem. It meant that they could generate answers in the moment. It meant that a whole new approach was possible, and this is a thing that started to change our industry. So at Intercom, we acted immediately. Over the course of that weekend, we changed our strategy, we changed our roadmap, and just knew this was going to lead to a very different world. We acted really fast because we saw this mapping of the things customer service reps typically do and the things that large language models can do. And there was just this huge overlap. So straight away, we could see there was these profound implications, because if AI can do all the things, or many of the things, that frontline support reps do, what will they do? What could they do? They could work on higher impact things. They could work on new types of things. They could spend more time with customers. Some customers need a lot of time and empathy, and if people were freer, they could do that type of thing. And we realized if you change the fundamentals, you change the industry, and that's what's happened. So within 1 month, we shipped our first AI features, and within 4 months, we shipped Fin into beta. We're going back now 18 months. Fin was the world's first LLM-powered customer service bot. Fin is very different to custom bots and resolution bot. There was no rules, no trees, no setup. You feed it content, and it basically works out of the box and generates answers in real time. And Fin's performance surprised us. You know, we kind of saw the possibilities, but from V1, there was 23% of resolutions out of the box. It was like a really, really high number. That's nearly a quarter of customer support questions. But V1 couldn't answer a lot of the time. You've complex questions, you've troubleshooting. Sometimes Fin gave the wrong answers, and that's not acceptable. It wasn't acceptable to us. You can't, humans make mistakes all the time. We give wrong answers all the time too. But we needed Fin to be better than that and give accurate answers as often as possible. So we invested really deeply in improving Fin's performance. That was the obsession over these 18 months. And we realized that it was huge work. It was hard work. It was very, very technical work. We ran over 120 A/B tests over the course of this period. Each point on this chart was really hard won. And we realized and learned, kind of obvious in hindsight, that the harder questions as you go up this chart get harder. And the harder questions are more complicated, and the harder questions mean that you'll get them wrong more often. There's higher error rates. And so oftentimes when we did these 120 experiments, oftentimes we'd get the resolution rate up, but the hallucination rate would increase as well. So Fin could answer more questions accurately, but would also make more mistakes. That wasn't good enough for us. We were like, we have got to keep the hallucination rate neutral or improve it. So we worked and worked and worked and worked and worked because we wanted to deliver a bot that can both answer the questions accurately as often as possible and not make many, many mistakes. So we worked really hard on this. We got to this average that we have now of 51% out of the box pretty much. In the first few days and weeks of people going live at Fin, they get 51% on average. Many get 70s and 80s. I'm going to show you that in a second. And if you look at these numbers, these are real numbers. This is our entire customer base. There's no cherry picking here. These are our real numbers. These numbers change industries. These are the kind of numbers that change industries, and you just don't go back. Once you get these type of numbers, you don't go back. But we also heard a lot of feedback from customers, a lot of you. Thank you. The more Fin customers we get, the more feedback we got. And we knew that resolution rate wasn't everything. There was a ton of other things that the product needed to do. You need ways to test it. You need ways to try it out. You need to actually see if it works well in certain contexts versus others. You need Fin to use new content types, different types of internal content, external content, content sources, PDFs, wikis, all sorts of stuff. Once you get all that knowledge into Fin, it's obviously hard to manage it. So you need ways to manage the knowledge. You need reporting. Does this thing actually work? I need to understand how it works. You need dashboards. And then channels. You need Fin to work in WhatsApp. And we've built all of this over the course of this period. WhatsApp, social channels, SMS, and most recently, email. So Fin works just as well in email as it does in chat. And this is important because a lot of people, when they think about AI and customer service, think about chat. AI in customer service is not about chat. That is the kind of first channel you see. It's the primary and dominant channel today. But this technology works just as well in email. I'm going to show you that in a second. So AI and Fin is not about chat. It's truly, truly omni-channel. We have some customers using Fin to answer tickets. So this thing is really, really a much bigger deal than chat. So we went early and we built a big lead and invested in this resolution rate, invested in all these features. And it's important to me to share this with you because of the hype out there, because of people claiming big product changes and big numbers. I'm giving you the real numbers. These are just the facts. I can't tell you there's bullshit out there and then bullshit you. That's not credible. So these are the real facts. We are 1 year ahead. And I think other companies that have recently launched their first versions of these products are going to find that to get something like 51% average resolution rate, it's going to take a long time. It's a hard and technical journey. And I'm really proud of us for going on that journey and building a product that's truly, truly good. So we're improving the fastest, but like, how did we get the numbers? How did we get to this kind of industry-changing number? We've built this deep, sophisticated AI engine. I'm not going to share you all the details of it, but our AI team are here in the room too. If you can find them later on, they'll be more than happy to take all your questions. But I'll explain it in like a brief way. The first thing Fin does is a phase called refine the query. What's going on here is, when you look at customer service questions, a lot of them are like, I'm stuck, or it's broken. And you can't really do much with that. And so Fin refines the query. It works to better understand what is the actual problem. Because the better the query you feed the system, the better the chances you can find the right answer to that question. So we have a refining the query phase. We've built a RAG system. It's specifically for customer service. It's tuned to customer service. And that RAG system generates the response. But a big thing with Fin is that Fin doesn't guess. Fin's not trying to guess. Fin wants to try and answer the question as accurate as possible. So we have a third step, which we call accuracy and safety checks, where we check the answer that Fin wants to give. Is it the right answer? Is there a better answer? Are there alternative answers? How can we dedupe those type of things and make sure that the answer that is delivered to the customer is actually a really good answer and actually does resolve their query? This happens in milliseconds. All of this happens in milliseconds. Customers don't experience any of this. They just get immediate answers. The system also has two other parts. One is an optimization engine. This improves efficiency of the system that we've built. And lastly, and maybe most importantly, there's a safety and security system within the Fin AI engine. This makes sure that Fin is compliant, that Fin is adhering to regulations and legal things and third-party data usage. It's obviously critical that Fin doesn't accidentally say something it shouldn't or give data out externally that it shouldn't. So it's really important, and we invest a lot of time in that too. The next thing about the AI engine is that we're announcing today, very, very exciting news, we're announcing today that Fin is now powered by Anthropic's Claude. Anthropic are here in the audience today too, an incredible company, have built this incredible large language model. Claude is just brilliant for Fin. We have run so many tests on all models. Every time a new model comes out from all different providers, we test it. We run thousands and millions of conversations through these different models to see which one works the best. Claude works the best. It's honestly that simple. Claude performs the best. So Fin runs on Claude, and we're announcing that today. Anthropic also uses Intercom for customer service, which we're very proud of. We're excited to talk about that as well. Again, an incredible company, and we're very proud that they've chosen Fin, one of the best AI companies in the world, have chosen Fin to run their customer service. So it's just great validation for us personally that Fin is real and it really, truly works. So this chart is actually maybe the most important thing for me to share, certainly. When I saw this, it kind of gave me the grounds for what I'm talking to you about. This is the distribution of resolution rate across our entire customer base. So you can see the kind of big numbers I shared earlier on the left and the right. But in the middle is the distribution. So you can see that across our customer base, these are the resolution rates that they're getting. This is real data. This is all of our Fin customers, no one excluded. This is a no bullshit chart. And you kind of have to pause and look at it, because when you see it, you realize that these, again, are industry-changing numbers. Once you have a distribution like this, where many, many customers are getting 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and more % of the resolutions answered by AI and by Fin, it totally changes what you can do. It totally changes what your people can do. What's also really important about this is the worst Fin will ever be. This is the worst the technology will ever be. Technology only goes in one direction. Only goes in one direction. So all of these numbers are going to go higher, and distribution chart is going to go from left to right. People who are in the 20s and 30s today will get into the 40s and 50s. If you're in the 40s and 50s today, you'll get into the 60s and 70s and so on. This is going to get better and better and better. It's really important to internalize this. So you may think, Paul, you work at Intercom, of course you're going to say this. I'm selling you a great product. So you don't have to listen to me. You can listen to our customers. We have many, many customers using Fin, and many of them are here today. And again, if you're not, we'd love you to talk to them. This is what we hear from them. We hear that it's basically a win-win-win. Fin customers have happier customers because they're getting immediate answers over half of the time. They have happier human agents because the human agents are working on more interesting things. They have more time to spend with customers. They have more time to spend with the customers who need more time. They're working on new things, like I said earlier, success, phone, things like that. We also have happier leaders. Many of you are leaders in the room. You can scale your sport without scaling your team. I often talk to people about this, and we all admit to each other that no one really likes hiring. We say, we love our team, but we didn't like the part where we had to hire all the people. And for customer service, this can be a treadmill sometimes. A lot of people leave the job, especially when the job is kind of repetitive, and you got to hire more people, and it can feel like a bit of a treadmill. And we've tons and tons of Fin customers now who've basically paused hiring. Fin is doing all of the new things, all the FAQs and repetitive things, and their team are doing all new things. And the team are much more interested. The job is more interesting. The people are doing things like managing the knowledge, designing the system, designing how Fin works, all sorts of cool stuff like that. We also have happier operations leaders because the team can do way more with the same dollars. So it really is a win-win-win. We also, though, hear more and more feedback all the time. And over the last kind of 3 to 6 months, the feedback we've heard most often kind of breaks into two themes. One is the quality of experience matters more than anything, and we're not sure if Fin delivers a great customer experience. Again, bad bots, but we're sorry about that. Are they good? Are they actually good? Is it a good experience? Because I know my team gives a good experience because I've taught them, I've trained them, I've coached them. They give a good experience. Does Fin, does AI give a good experience? So that's one big theme of feedback. How can I tell if it's a good experience? The other one is that AI is a black box. It's very hard to know how it works. Can I control it? I can do things with my team, like train them, coach them, mentor them. I don't know how to mentor Fin. How can I work with it? I don't really know how it works. And so if you're unsure how Fin works, or if you're unsure how AI works, you're going to be unsure if it can do all the frontline support and replace your frontline support team and free them for other work. If you're unsure how it works, you're unsure if you can replace the team. Fin 2 can do it. That's what we've been working on. Fin 2 is the first AI agent that delivers human quality service. That has been our mission, and it can do it. We've built it in partnership with all of you. Again, thank you for all the feedback. You can monitor, train, coach Fin just the same as you monitor, train, and coach your human team. That's how Fin 2 works. There's 4 big categories, and they map directly to how you think about a great human rep experience. Fin 2 is like your best reps in these 4 big ways. One is knowledge. With your human team, you keep them up to date, and your best reps are proactive. They keep themselves up to date. They teach themselves new things. They learn the latest info by themselves. So Fin does that. Second category is behavior. Your best reps follow your guidance. They follow your policies. They apply good judgment with these things. Fin 2 does that too. The third category is actions. Your best reps don't just give everyone the same answer and close the conversation. They give personal answers and use personal data to give personalized responses. And they take action. Sometimes queries can't be resolved without an action. They take action. And the fourth is insights. You got to trust Fin the same way you trust your team. So we've built a whole bunch of reporting and different things I'm going to walk you through in a second so that you can trust Fin, and you can feel like you can turn it on for lots of your customer base and it will work really well. We want you to hire Fin for all your frontline support. We want you to do it. We have customers doing it today. So let's look at all the ways in which Fin 2 features work in these 4 categories. So the first is knowledge. You can teach Fin and increase its knowledge. And obviously, the more knowledge Fin has, the more questions Fin can answer. You can connect all sources. With everything at Intercom, we are designing this to be easy to use. You do not need dozens of people to integrate and spend months trying to do all this stuff. Everything at Intercom is super easy to do. No code, no engineering background, no technical background. That's our goal. Anyone can do it. So you can connect all these sources. It's really easy, internal, external. We've built a much better upload system, so new content gets uploaded 10 times faster, so Fin gets the up-to-date information immediately. We've put all of this knowledge into the central knowledge hub, because the more content you bring into Fin, the harder it is to manage and know what's going on. So everything's in one central location. Makes it way easier to keep up to date. We've also built a different type of way for Fin to answer. So most AI agents that are out there, they pull pieces from the most relevant source. They look up, try and find out what it is, find the most relevant source, and then pull pieces from that. Fin uses multiple content sources. So Fin will look at all these different types of content sources and pull all different pieces of the potential answer together, constructs a brand new answer, which means it's more comprehensive. It might be longer sometimes, but it's a more comprehensive answer, and that more comprehensive answer delivers higher resolution rates. So it's really powerful. It really helps drive up the performance. You obviously only train Fin once. Once you connect to these sources and have them syncing, if you update the source, Fin gets updated. So it's really powerful. Second thing is behavior. So the first part of this is a new feature called tone of voice. I think this is our most requested feature of all time in the decade plus of Intercom. You want Fin to speak like you do. And you can teach your reps to speak like you do. Now you can teach Fin to speak like you do. So you can change the tone of voice of Fin, and you can change the answer length of Fin. Here's an example of this. This is exactly the same answer delivered by Fin, but for 2 different companies who have a different tone of voice. So on the left, they've chosen a short and formal tone of voice. On the right, they've chosen a longer, more fun tone of voice. Different companies have different brands and different brand attributes. So it's the same answer, but in different tones of voice. It's really, really cool. And we're exploring new ways to do this too. A lot of our customers have like unique brands, and they want it to speak in very specific ways. So we're building out better ways to do that as well. The next feature I think is also really cool. It's one of my favorites, real-time translation. So the challenge here is really obvious. You have many different customers who speak many different languages. And the way to solve that in the past is hire people who can speak the languages. It's time-consuming, and it's hard, and there's a big overhead in it. You don't need to do that anymore. Fin can do it automatically. Fin can automatically translate into the customer's language. So here's an example of this. This is an article written in English in the middle. This article only exists in English. An English-speaking person wrote this article in English. Fin is delivering an answer from this article to a customer on the left who speaks Spanish and a customer on the right who speaks Japanese. Fin is talking to them and giving them the right answer in their own language. The article was never written in those languages. The article only exists in English. So you no longer need to localize content. Again, this frees up your team. Think about all the resources you spend localizing content. You can do other things with that resource now. You can have people do all sorts of other types of things. Here it is in email. Earlier I mentioned that AI in Fin is not a chat tool, it's an omni-channel tool. This all works in email as well. So everything that works in chat automatically works in email with Fin. Okay, the next in behavior is behavior control. So what do we mean by that? It's really critical that reps follow policies, kind of stating the obvious. And different companies have different types of policies, like businesses, even competing businesses sometimes differentiate by having different policies, like how do they do refunds, cancellations, billing, all sorts of things like that, different types of policies. And you need to control that. You need to teach people how to respond if someone is asking for a refund. You know, lots of companies, if they blindly give refunds to every single refund request, wouldn't be around for very long. So you need to control these types of things and properly understand what the customer is asking for and where the refund request is coming from or the cancellation request is coming from. Maybe you can actually help them with something better rather than cancel. So you've got to control this, and now with Fin you can. We have a new feature called AI category detection. That's the first step here. What that does is every single conversation has automatically AI-generated topic and sentiment. So every single conversation has AI-generated topic and sentiment. It's really easy to set up. It's natural language. Again, we're trying to make this as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. You just type in the type of thing, the type of guidance that you want to give to Fin, not use natural language, and Fin will then start automatically doing that in the future. You can set all this up in our Workflows product. Our Workflows product is really easy to use, drag and drop, no-code automation builder. And you can give Fin hard rules in Workflows. You can give Fin guidance. For example, if a customer is angry, you can pass them to the special team that deals with all the angry people. That's probably many of you sometimes. If it's a cancellation, you can pass to the team that deals with cancellation requests. If it's a feature request, you can tell Fin, hey, can you file a ticket in Jira? If it's a bug, can you file it in GitHub, but inform the right team about it? You can set all these rules up whatever way you want. Any imaginable attribute, event, segment, region, channel, whatever. You can set it all up in Workflows. And this actually is the best of both worlds. You know, the world we had prior to generative AI, this kind of like deterministic world, rules-based world, it wasn't like universally bad. You know, it was a lot of time and manual setup to get it to work well, but it wasn't bad. Like, rules are there to be followed sometimes, and so with this, you have the best of both worlds. You can combine rules with generative AI answers. So you can tell Fin to do very specific things, but Fin will generatively converse and answer. So you could say, hey, Fin, follow these rules, but when you're talking to the customer, you know, converse with them, understand what they're trying to do, troubleshoot with them. When you see certain things happen, follow this other rule, right? So you can build both of these things together, and you can now train Fin the exact same way you train your human team. It's exactly the same. All the ways that you're familiar with training your human team, you can now do it with Fin. OK, next is actions. So we have a really great research team at Intercom. They're called the RAD team. Stands for Research and Data Science. They're very proud of their name. It's a great name. They do a lot of research into customer service, obviously, for us, and we do a lot of research into customer questions, because we're trying to understand, for Fin to answer more and more questions, we need to understand what the questions are and what shape they take and form they take. And we see these 3 buckets, and these 3 buckets are huge. You can see the percentages there. Informational questions means that the answer is the same for everyone. Do you ship to the UK? You know, how much is your basic plan? Like, the answer is the same for everyone. And for Fin 1, our big focus was informational questions and making sure that it works for real, getting these real average resolution rate numbers. Over the last kind of 6 months, 9 months, we started looking at these other categories, like personalized answers, where the question might be common, like, is my flight delayed? Lots of people might ask that, but the answer is different depending on what flight you got. So it's a personalized answer specific to the customer, and then actions is then to do something about it. So if your flight is delayed, maybe you need Fin to book you a new flight. So sometimes to get full resolutions, there's a task involved, and Fin has to go and do an action. Other companies say they have actions, and it takes months and many people to set it up. That is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this as easy as possible for anyone to do in minutes. That's our goal. So the first part here is that you just connect sources. We have some common sources here like Stripe and Shopify and Status Page. Depending on your business, you'll use different types of services like these. And in the cases where you use these very common services, it's super simple to do. Here you click Stripe, and then you get this modal, and you can choose what to turn on. This is automatically pulling from Stripe and saying, hey, here's all the things that are connected, that you've connected up. You can just turn each one on. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do to start having Fin use Stripe data and take actions in Stripe. You just set it up, and you turn it on. In figuring out what you want to turn on or how you want it to work, you just then set up a workflow. Obviously, you can turn all these things on, but you might want to trigger them in only very specific cases, so you can just manage that in workflows. Again, workflow is easy to use, drag and drop, no code. So we're trying to make this as easy as possible for as many people as possible. Here's a nice, simple example of this. The customer is asking a question, saying their payment has failed. Fin has connected to Stripe. Finn has pulled the data from Stripe. Finn has worked out that their card expired. That's why the payment has failed. And Finn is saying, hey, you used an expired card. You should try a different card. Again, this happens in milliseconds. It would take a human rep, they have to look up the data, look up Stripe, find some other dashboard. So this really, really frees your team. When Finn is doing this type of stuff, you don't want your human team who you've trained, hired, mentored to be looking up this information that AI can do way faster. They can do way more interesting things than that, way more valuable things than that. So it really frees up your team. Here's actions, same data source, Stripe. You just did a one-time connection to Stripe, and Finn does the actions. Finn can do all sorts of stuff, of course, payment issues, amending an order, changing the address, or in this case, pausing the subscription. So really, really powerful, really, really flexible. These are just some of the examples that work just with a few clicks. Obviously, lots of businesses, almost all businesses, probably need custom actions. You're very specific type of thing you're trying to do, and so you can set those up too. Again, it's really easy to do. You just connect, configure. Again, you use natural language to set this up. You give Finn the guidance that you want it to follow, type it in, use natural language, and Finn can work out what it's supposed to do. Again, we have lots of customers using this in beta, and it's working really well. It's just really, really cool, really powerful. The example here is loyalty points. A customer has a loyalty points program. Obviously, lots of customers ask, how many points do I have? How many points am I from the next tier? Again, you can have human reps answer these questions, but they can do way more interesting and valuable things than that, and Finn can do these things now. So it's really easy to set up, huge capabilities. So that's actions. The last section is insights, and the last question you have is, how do you measure the experience? Thanks, Paul, for the features, but does it actually work? So with insights, the truth about all of this is that trust is built over time. Whether it's humans or AI, we build trust over time. We usually don't automatically trust someone. You don't hire a new human support person and then just say, here's our whole entire customer base of every single imaginable question. Off you go, have fun. It's not how it works. You got to teach them, train them, and you build trust over time. We do this in two ways. Typically on the quantitative side, we use CSAT, the industry standard metric, or on the qualitative side, we manually QA things to see if they're good. CSAT is the metric we love to hate. CSAT has no feelings. You can admit it. It's just not a great metric. It's just not a great metric. There's two big problems with CSAT. One is it has really, really poor coverage. Only about 16% on average of customers asked to fill in a CSAT survey fill it in. Very, very low. That means 84% of your customers are the silent majority. You don't know what they experienced. You don't know. You haven't measured it. You don't know, is it good or is it bad? So really poor coverage is one big problem. And the second one is that it's unreliable. When you look at CSAT scores, almost everyone answers either 1 or 5. 1 is just all the angry, upset people. That's pretty obvious. And the 5s are complicated. Sometimes the 5s are people who got a great answer, but sometimes the 5s are people who kind of liked the human rep, and they're like, I don't know where this is going. It's going to their boss. And I still have the problem, but I don't want them to get in trouble, so I'll give them a 5. We're flying blind. We're flying blind. It's not the best metric. And so we went to solve this. We have solved it. Imagine if you had 100% coverage. Imagine if you had 100% coverage of whether the question was resolved, the sentiment of that conversation, and how accurate it was. So we've built this, which may be great news. We think it's great news, but it might be bad news too. How did the 84% feel? Well, we're going to find out. We have an AI product that measures every single conversation, 100% resolution and sentiment. It's very imaginatively titled AI-generated CSAT. It analyzes the question, it measures the satisfaction, it measures the sentiment. You get CSAT across 100% of conversations. You can compare human CSAT, you can compare AI CSAT. Honestly, we think this is a huge step forward. This is, again, a one-way door. Once you have 100% of coverage, you're not going back to the old way of doing CSAT. You're just not going to do it. Now, you can compare, in the product, you can compare your surveyed CSAT with the AI-generated CSAT. You can look for patterns there. But we think this is industry-changing. And ultimately, it's going to lead to way better service. We think there are so many people in that silent majority who are just getting a terrible experience, but no one knows yet. No one knows. And if you don't know, you can't fix it. So we've built this product. We think it's extremely powerful, but it's not enough to know what to do. This tells you that like something might be wrong or bad. So we have another product that we're announcing today too, called the Conversation Quality Report. What this does is it tells you where to improve. So these things come together, where it tells you where to improve. It surfaces the lower performing areas. So now you have 100% coverage and the lower performing areas highlighted. So straight away you can dig in and say, we need better content there, we need better training there. Maybe it's human training, maybe it's Fin training. It's all there. You can start to dig in and expose what you need. Again, it's AI powered, really powerful. The third one we have is a holistic overview report. So one of the biggest things, obviously, we believe Fin2 and AI agents are the future of customer service. They will answer the vast majority of questions. 51%, people getting in the 80s, real data, no cherry-picked numbers. It's going to do all frontline support. AI is going to do all frontline support. But the future is humans and AI working together. Humans will answer questions for many, many weeks, months, and years to come, and they'll still be better than AI at answering questions oftentimes. There's also humans managing the system. Many of you are going to have to orchestrate all this, work out how it works. So the future is humans and AI working together, and this report gives you the full picture, the holistic picture. It gives you the overall health of the customer service operation you're running. So in summary, we've got an AI-generated CSAT, which we think is like an industry-changing thing. We have a conversation quality report where you can dig in, and then you zoom all the way out and see how the humans and the AI are performing and how they're working together. OK, that was a lot of stuff. So I'm going to give you a quick recap, and then we'll finish up. Fin1 results were incredible to us. Really, truly incredible. We went deep to make this thing real, to not have it be like an isolated number of customers who get these like results that we can't replicate. That's no good to anyone. It's no good to Intercom as a business, and it's no good to the customer service industry if these are like cherry-picked marketing stories. We have to make it good for everyone. That was our goal, and we drove it up over weeks, months, and many, many hard technical experiments. Today we're announcing Fin2. We believe this is a big step up in capability. Not only do we have the big resolution right now, we have a great customer experience, and AI is no longer a black box. We're going to keep opening up that black box. You can get in. You can control Fin. You can change tone of voice. You can give it guidance, ask it to follow policies. All the things you do with human reps, you can now start to do with Fin as well. So we really, truly believe Fin can do all your frontline support. We've one more feature that didn't really fit in the 4 categories, and that's called controlled rollout. So a third big theme we heard from all of you, many more customers listening online too, is that you need to test, try it, does it work, I need to check, and just all sorts of different things like channels, different segments or regions. So we've built this really powerful feature called controlled rollout. Again, you can see how it works here. It's very easy to use. You can decide which segments and how to turn Fin on. People are using this in all sorts of cool ways. For example, they're turning Fin on for surges. A lot of customer service teams get really big problems with surging volume because something happened. So you can set up rules like, if this team is at capacity, turn on Fin for this segment, right? Full flexibility and control. People use it for out-of-office things, all sorts of stuff like that. So again, with workflows, with controlled rollout, tons of flexibility, tons of control. You can set it up whatever way you want your customer service operation to run. So we want you to think about Fin as your fully capable frontline customer service team. Fin only costs $99. That's not cheap. 99 cents. 99 cents per resolution. That's what it's always been. We only charge for Fin if it works. We only charge if there's a resolution. We invented this new type of metric. It's called an outcome metric, so you only pay if the outcome is achieved. Why do we do this? We could probably make more money as a business in the short term using seats. It's because we want people to experience Fin. We want you to try it. We want to make it as cheap as possible because we think it's industry changing. We want as much people as possible to use it. We want as much people as possible to free their team and see all the ways in which you can create a way better customer experience. If you have Fin today, if you use Fin today, everything is free. We're not charging anything extra for anything I've shown today. Fin is exactly the same, 99 cents per resolution. And if Fin can't answer, you don't get charged. We're also announcing a professional service team today. Intercom, as I've said over and over, we design it to be easy to use, but obviously AI is a new world, and sometimes you need help. Our professional services team are here too. If you find them, you should ask them for advice. We want to help you. A big theme we hear from lots of customers is, I'm sold, but I need help. Teach me how to use it. Teach me what you've learned. That's what we're trying to do today, sharing all the things that we've been learning over the last 12 months. So we now have professional services to help. So in summary, Fin is the best performing product on the market. We're really, really intentional about that. It's got the richest feature set, the most powerful feature set. All of it's real. There's no like smoke and mirrors. It's got a really good customer experience, we believe, based on the results we're seeing. We think that these are transformational results, industry-changing results. The customer experience is better. It's immediate and fast for almost all customers. CSAT's better. You get off the hiring treadmill. You can invest in your team, free up your team, get your team doing all sorts of new types of things that you have wanted for years. Please talk to us about these themes. Talk to each other if you're in the room. We have tons of customers here, like I said earlier. Find customers using Fin. Listen to the other stages. There's lots of real evidence. We want to share all this real evidence with you. And that's it for me. I just want to finish up by saying a very sincere and deep thank you to everyone who's talked to us. So many of you in this room. You talked to me and give me feature requests. But you talk to our teams, our sales team, our product team, our engineering team, our AI team. Please keep telling us what works about Fin. We are trying to do this in a very open, honest way. Like I said earlier, real results is what we're about. So thank you so much. We couldn't do this without you. The future is AI first, and there's so much hype out there. It's real today. I hope I've kind of persuaded you of that. Fin works, and Fin works now. It's delivering these very real results. I honestly, deeply believe, Fin or not Fin, Intercom or not Intercom, our industry is changing in profound ways right in front of our eyes. Right in front of our eyes. You shouldn't fall behind wondering. Earlier, I said you shouldn't die wondering, but that would take too long. You shouldn't wait that long. Don't fall behind wondering. Try it. Try it. It works. And then you can start to see all these advantages on the human team. With that, thank you so much.